Hey, Pokemon Masters, PopkeMenz here, and happy Halloween. Nearly, not quite. You might be watching this on Halloween. Got a 1 in 365 chance there. Look, I love Halloween. It's like one of my favorite times of the year, the end of October. We got new games coming up, or in this case, a new DLC just happened. We're talking about mysticism in the Pokemon world, mysteries, speculation. How do you think I got into Pokemon theories in the first place? My first year here on YouTube, I did a whole video about Lavender Town Syndrome and if it was real, and every Halloween I've done my best to try and celebrate in some way or another. I just love talking about those ghost-type Pokemon, and one of my best series that I've ever done here on the channel was the Evolutionary Tree of Life series. Took every final evolution from across the Pokedex, tried to work out how they were related to each other, and made a big poster with a big tree of evolution. But you might notice next to the tree are two smaller trees for man-made Pokemon, which obviously can't have evolved from other Pokemon, and ghostly Pokemon. Except the ghostly Pokemon tree probably doesn't make any sense anymore. So I'm going to do my best to deconstruct this tree and move all of these Pokemon to the main tree where they belong. Let's take a look. Okay, Ghost Hunters, here we go. But before I jump into it, this video has a sponsor, me. I'm sponsoring my video. I pay me a grand total of £0 and 0 pence. But look, as you might have been able to tell, this month I released some brand new merch. It's my new kind of like bird keeper emblem merch. I got it on hats, I got it on bags, I got it on mugs even. I've got my coffee, but it's too hot to drink right now. Something to keep me warm in those spooky, spooky nights. And right now, for the month of October, my merch store is having a sale. 25% off everything, not the new stuff, but everything else, 25% off. Using code TOBY25, I've highly got to recommend the Team Snooze onesies as we move into the colder parts of the year. But that said, you might want to get hold of the Evolution Tree. I'm not doing a new one this year, just because there hasn't really been that many new updates. So get yourself to an Evolution Tree, some Team Snooze merch, some of my new merch. It massively helps me out. It makes a big difference in my life. So thank you so much to those of you supporting, and let's jump in with this topic and take a look at what we've got on that evolution tree so far. Ghost Pokemon. I've kind of got them in their own little segment of the tree, except not really. These 17 Pokemon here are not the only ghost Pokemon that exist on the tree. Outside of legendaries, which don't really belong anywhere on the biological tree, we've also got, like, for example, Shedinja. But Shedinja is clearly the most closely related to Ninjask, a living Pokemon, despite being a ghost type. And this is because the ghost type and dead Pokemon are not necessarily the same thing, even though Pokedex entries might read so. For example, the whole Pokemon that got me thinking about this was Corsola, Galarian Corsola, and Cursula. Both Galarian Corsola and Cursula are supposed to be dead, but they're not. They're alive. They're living ghost-type Pokemon. So the reference to death either means something different here, or it is just sort of the myths and the legends of the Pokemon world. And you know what? The Pokedex does embellish literally all of the time. Like, the Pokedex says that Gengar used to be human, or that Haunter used to be human, but we just don't know that that's the case. In fact, in the animated series, Gengar kills Ash, and Ash becomes a ghost, but he doesn't become a Gengar, though his soul is put back in his body, but ghosts definitely do exist in the Pokemon world. Look, it's very, very complicated. There is no clear-cut answer, but for the sake of this, an evolutionary biological tree of life, I want to take these 17 ghost Pokemon that I haven't already put on the main tree and try and find their closest living counterparts. Just like we have Shedinja next to Ninjask, or Galarian Corsola, or Cursula next to Corsola, or heck, even Pokemon that aren't directly related, like Decidueye, which is a ghost type, being closely related to the owls, like Noctowl. My job right now for future versions of the evolutionary tree, whenever they might be, is to take these 17 Pokemon on their mini tree and try and get them onto the main tree. Also, quick shout out to Dracopult, which I had down as a dragon and being related to the dragons, but it's actually based on an ancient form of amphibian, meaning technically it's probably closer on the evolutionary tree to something like Swampert and Quagsire than it is to, say, Dragonite. Anyway, 17 Pokemon, here we go. This is gonna be easy, right? First two Pokemon that I've put on the ghostly part of the tree is Frostlass and Glalie, and that's all from Frostlass. But in the episode I did about mineral Pokemon, we were talking about ice Pokemon and ice Pokemon sort of coming to life and where they've come from, and I'm still not fully decided on that. But for now, at least, I'd like to toy with the idea that Glalie and Frostlass, you know, kind of inferred by their Pokedex entries, are some kind of living ice, or kind of a blizzard consumes becomes a traveler lost in the mountains, and the spirit combined with infinity energy that makes Pokemon somehow becomes these Pokemon. Look, I'm putting them in with the other ice-bodied Pokemon for now, okay? That makes sense to me. As to where the ice-bodied Pokemon should go, that is another question for another time. Okay, 15 Pokemon. Similarly, Palossand is ultimately haunted grains of sand, and sand is essentially ground up, you know, dirt and rock and pebbles. It is earth, and so I'm gonna put Palossand in with the other rock-bodied Pokemon, which, as talked about in the mineral episode, may have possibly come from space. I'm feeling that, and that over thousands of years, something like a Palossand or a Sandygast could have evolved here on Earth. I actually quite like the idea of some alien rock creature like Solrock or Lunatone coming down to Earth, settling here, maybe settling on islands or in the oceans, and as a result of flooding, the rocks get corroded and worn down till they're bits of sand, and that sand comes back to life in the form of Sandygast and Palossand. Makes sense to me. 14 remaining, let's take a look at another 5. Aegislash, Mimikyu, Banette, and the 2 Runigus and Cofagrigus. It is so hard to say with these Pokemon, but I'm kind of tempted to move them over to the man-made portion. Many of them are possessed objects, items, runes, stones, things created by people. As to what they are possessed by, that is a whole other question. Like Yamask has Pokedex entries talking about how it used to be alive, but whether that's really the case or just mythology, like we've decided was the case for Phantom, which we've put in with the various tree and grass Pokemon in Trevenant, whether it really was once a human living person or whether that's just mythology and folklore, I'm thinking it's maybe just folklore. The question is then, what is it that's taking over, possessing, controlling, or coming to life as a result of these death masks and coffins, of these runic stones and swords, if it's not the things described in their Pokedex entries? It may just simply be ghost energy. You have to remember that all of the different Pokemon types, from Dragon, Ghost, Fire, Water, Electric, they are all just expressions of infinity energy, which is the life force of Pokemon, talked about a whole bunch in a whole bunch of different videos. You're probably sick of hearing about it by now. Lockstin has done a number of videos talking about it, how Dragon energy is sort of like the purest form of the infinity energy, and Ghost energy might well be intertwined with the death part of infinity energy. So I don't know, maybe it really is something coming back to from the dead and possessing these objects, but these objects are still man-made, so I'm going to put them in with the man-made Pokemon on the tree. Also, I know Mimikyu is a little bit of a weird choice here, because the question is Mimikyu the spirit underneath the Pikachu blanket, or is it like the Pikachu blanket then kind of forms a spirit under it, maybe similar to how Banette comes to life? The truth of the matter is, we don't know. Until we see a new or different form of Mimikyu, we can't say for sure that there are actually Mimikyus out there that don't have the Pikachu robe. Again, just because the Pokedex says it, doesn't necessarily mean it's true. But okay, if those are poltergeists, those are items that are being brought to life, then what do we think about Chandelure and Drifloon? Well, here's the thing. I don't think Drifloon is a possessed balloon. That's just its body. Nothing about it screams the fact that it is a spirit that's possessed a balloon, and it's the same case with Chandelure. It's not actually a chandelier. That is just the way its body happens to look. But I think these two Pokemon are related wherever they go. I mean, their bodies are both 90% face. They are ghost types, they levitate, and hot air balloons are raised by hot air. The hot air allows these balloons to float and rise, meaning its biology may well be similar to that of Chandelure's. I suspect these Pokemon are related to each other. And while this is getting very speculative, these two are two of the hardest to place on the evolutionary tree. I want to place them somewhere similar to or related to Gourgeist. In my evolutionary tree, because we have to get speculative for ghosts and fairy Pokemon, pixie Pokemon, dragons, we gotta get speculative. We don't have a real world equivalent. Because of that, I've put fairies and pixies and fae and sprites all sprouting out of the lineage of Pokemon that formed from plant-like Pokemon, as there are many plant-like fairy spirit people Pokemon. Wow, I absolutely nailed that sentence. The point is, there are a whole bunch of grass ghosts out there. Dhelmise, Trevenant, and Gourgeist that are all very closely related, and I could see how something like a Gourgeist or a Pumpkaboo, how their bodies could, over time, over millions of years, is evolution, baby, could turn into something like a Chandelure's body or a Drifloon's body. After all, it's hard to see for sure, but Pumpkaboo does have that orange jack-o'-lantern kind of glow about it. And in fact, between the two evolutions, they can learn a ton of fire moves. Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Will-O-Wisp, Mystical Fire, Sunny Day. there is a lot there going for it, and the idea that they might be related. And again, that like Pumpkaboo's body is 90% face, just like these things, very spherical. I could see the relationship, I could see it making sense. Speaking of grass plants, this is where I want to get very speculative about the Pokemon Poltergeist and S.T.E, because ultimately they are ghost tea leaves, tea that has been left in a pot to brew. And we know that the Pokemon can go in multiple kinds of pots, as seen in the chipped pot and the cracked pot, which are different. So I'm treating this very similar to Delmise, which is the seaweed part, not the anchor part of the body, and that the pot is just kind of peripheral. And the thing inside it, that's the Pokemon, made from the essence of dead tea. Tea leaves, grass, we've already got all these grass ghost Pokemon. I would definitely place it related to one of these. Halloween, I could really go for some S.T.E or some Poltergeist lattes. By the way, side note, if you are visiting the merch store, there may also be a link down there to my lovely girlfriend's merch store. The Last Shaman has made an original character called Pumpkit, and it's really cute. I just gotta throw that out there. She can sponsor this part of the video. If anyone would buy anything, I know it would mean the world to her. It would just make her day. So now I am just left with 5 ghost Pokemon to place. The first one I'll eliminate quite easily is Spiritomb. I think much like the other man-made Pokemon, while yes, Spiritomb is 108 angry spirits, unless that's also folklore, ultimately it is bound and tied to the odd keystone, which is absolutely 100% not a natural looking item. It is a man-made item. You can't have a Spiritomb without an odd keystone. To me, this is a man-made Pokemon. Even if it is just people who have made the fissure by which they can obtain Pokemon souls, kind of like a retro Pokeball. I've talked about that in another Pokemon theory. But yeah, Spiritomb, man-made Pokemon. Next up, Mismagius, looking for its real-world counterpart. This was hard. Originally I was thinking, okay, witches, or maybe it could be related to the Delphox line, except they just sort of look nothing alike. And then it hit me. We have a brand new witch Pokemon in this generation over in the bit of the Pokedex that represents kind of fae and spirits and all that jazz, and that's Hatterene. And I'm not gonna lie, I think the appearances here speak for themselves, as well as the fact that they're both just mystical. So I hope I've done my Misdreavus proud. But yeah, Misdreavus and Mismagius, Mismagius? Mage? Magic? Magnets? No. Point is, I think very clearly it's going for a relationship here with Hatterene. Just 3 left to go. Gengar is a hard one, and before I make any final decisions, I'm gonna want your inputs in the comments here, because Gengar is a Pokemon that you can tie to so many different other Pokemon through Pokemon theories. So, if a Haunter possesses a Pokeball, it becomes a Voltorb, but that doesn't work in reverse. Okay, so it's not related to Voltorb, that's fine. Gengar is Clefable's shadow, and Clefable is an alien, so Gengar is the shadow of an alien that when it reproduces just becomes this weird ghastly-like gas. Of course, it does have Pokedex entries talking about how it's trying to come through from another dimension, so is it an interdimensional Pokemon? Or could Ghastly be the spirit of a beached cloister that has kind of escaped the shell? And it's that mystical energy from Shelder and Cloister that allows to help Slowpoke evolve into Slowbro, and then an empty clam left behind. If it gets a little psychic type Pearl thing in it, it becomes a Clamperl. I know Clamperl's not a psychic type, but if its Pearl ends up on the head of a Spoink, then that's how it gets its psychic typing, and that's the same Pearl that you can find in a Slowpoke and Slowking's head. I do not know what I'm saying or going for here. Where does Gengar belong? That one you're gonna have to let me know your thoughts in the comments. For now, I'm gonna go with the good old classic Clefable shadow theory. I do think it's possible. I think their biology is very, very similar, but you just might not like that, and so I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Or head on over to the Discord server that we have, discord.gg/Fuji's Lab, where we discuss Pokemon theories. Plus, there's a whole like index there of other Pokemon theories that we've got. In fact, I got a lot of the help from over there, and especially with these last two, because these last two are impossibly hard to place. Those are Rotom and Dusk Noir. Gonna talk about Rotom first. Rotom is a ball of energy. It's a ball of plasma. Plasma, closely related to fire, I guess? And maybe, or electricity, or just energy? The problem is here, there is no way that a Pokemon like Rotom would have evolved, evolutionary speaking, biologically. It just doesn't work. There are potential relatives in Klefki and Chimecho, maybe? But that's a real stretch. That's really hard to see. I'm tempted to say that Rotom might be the result of experimentation and research, and that it is a man-made Pokemon, which is why you're always finding it sort of being researched by Team Galactic grunts and just other like the scientific laboratory types. Professor Oak's really interested in it in the animated series. I get that it's been around for a while, as seen in the old Chateau. Ooh, that was quite a scary trip. But you know, I haven't got a lot of it. I'm thinking it's man-made. That one's hard as well. I'll take any of your advice and hints in the comments. And that leaves me with just one more ghost Pokemon to place, and this one I am so excited about. And that is Dusk Noir, because at first it seems that there is no Pokemon in the whole Pokedex that this Pokemon could possibly be related to. The only other Cyclops Pokemon that I can think of is like Woobat, and I don't see Duskull and Woobat being related. I've seen images comparing the biology of Duskull to Spritzy, which I do kind of like, but I try to focus on the final evolutions, because ultimately those smaller evolutions are just the baby versions of what is the, you know, to come. So where does Dusk Noir go? Well, for that, it's gonna require an entire theory of its own. Yes, you're gonna have to wait for that one. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait and see. But for now, I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about my placements for all of these ghost-type Pokemon. Whether you highly agree, whether you disagree with a number of them, I'd love to hear, or you can get involved in the Discord, in the biology chat with us and talk about Pokemon biology with us. I love Halloween. Also, make sure to click that link at the top of the description to check out my merch store, or if you're feeling really kind as well, the one under it, to check out Kit, which is Phoebe's design. We're both just trying to make our way in the world, and anytime you buy our merch, it supports us, so thank you. You are all absolutely amazing. Happy Halloween. There are many haunted videos on this channel that I hope you enjoy checking out. You're amazing, thank you, and of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.